Hello. Hey, hello. Good morning from the UK and good afternoon or good evening to different Asia countries like Thailand, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, etc. Right? Okay, so there are some more people joining. Okay, so thank you so much for everyone joining this webinar. So today we are very honored to have our summer school manager here to explain more about the UK summer school. And a lot of students actually interested to have an experience to study in the UK. And MPW Sixth Form College may be the best option for you because MPW, our summer school, is focused on the students who age 14 to 17 years old. And our location is located in the central Zone 1, London, South Kensington area, and also the Cambridge city center. So nice environment and very safe. And our summer school is also very focused on different subjects for students to experience, for example, medicine or computer science, business, engineering, etc., to find out what is your best interest, right? And more importantly, this is not a summer school for students to learn English. This is a summer school for students to have a value-added experience. For example, we will bring students to visit university in Cambridge, in London, or industrial gas filter, etc. Right? So it will be a very exciting experience. So thank you very much for our UK staff, summer school manager, Erin and Izzy, to join us, and she will explain all about the details about the summer school. And remember, drop please use the paper to drop any questions that you want to ask at the end. We will have plenty of time for you to ask questions in details. Thank you, Erin. I will pass to you. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody from London. So my name is Erin, and I am the summer school director for MPW.
And I'm Izzy. I do the admissions for summer school.
So yes, if you're sending us emails and you have any inquiries, Izzy will be helping manage the application and helping with the entire admissions process. So let's get started. Thank you for joining us today. So our summer program, as you can see in the photo here on the main page, we have lots of different students from all over the world. So the students are aged 14 to 17. And as Sharon said, this isn't suitable for a new English language learner. This is for a student who already has a good level of English. So we're looking for an English requirement of approximately B1 plus B2 IELTS 5.0. Now, this is for both domestic and international students. So we do have native speakers who join the program, which is great. So we have some students from the UK. We even had some from Canada, some from the United States come to join our program. So this shows you that it really is a full international experience and not just for learning English. Now, of course, if a student is joining the program to practice their English skills, this is a great place for them because they are having a fully immersive experience. Now, we also have a full enrichment experience. So as Sharon said, we're going to talk about a lot of the parts that are unique to our program. It's very good for university experience and preparation to get an idea of what they want to study in university, what types of things they need to do to make their dream career happen. Now, students can choose subjects to focus on in more depth, and then they focus on that subject for 2 weeks. I'll start with a little bit about the key information. So Sharon has probably let a lot of you know that we have an early bird offer on right now, so that if you book a place before December 31st, the fees are actually £250 less than if you book after December 31st. Okay, so you can see the two fees there. So for London, we have a 2-week fee at £4,250 if you book now, but if you book after Christmas, it's £4,500. Now, that fee includes everything except for your airport transfer and your flights. Okay, so we can organize airport transfers for students. We also provide a comprehensive travel and medical insurance policy in the fee. We have an MPW branded certificate that students finish the program with. And then we also have a individualized report from their teacher. So often at the end of the program, we have students who might ask me for a letter of recommendation. We have a really nice personalized progress report from the student's teacher to tell them about, how they're doing, maybe some steps they should take post-summer to kind of increase their chances of getting into their university program. We have 3 different dates that you can take the program. So we have it in London and Cambridge. And then we have June 28th, July 12th, or July 26th as start dates. Okay, and that's across both locations. Something that is great about MPW is that overall we have very small classes and we keep that into the summer. In the summer, we have a maximum of 10 in a class, but it's actually an average of 9 students. So that means you can really get that individualized attention from your teacher. In the class, you might have a student who is very strong and another student who maybe is not as strong. The teachers are very skilled at helping those students to stretch and challenge those high-level students, but also support those students who might be struggling a little bit more in the class. Now, our program. So we have 8 academic streams for students to choose from. Now you can only choose one subject for 2 weeks. You can't choose 2, but you can see that within each subject, there are a couple of different areas that they're covering. So for example, politics and law covers international relations, political ideologies, law. We've got business, finance, and economics, very popular course in the summer. Computing, robotics, and AI, they're doing things like building a robot. They're doing things about 2D game development. Medicine and sciences, they're exploring lots of different areas of medicine. They're doing dissections. They get a first aid certificate. Physics and engineering, we're actually adjusting the course a little bit for next summer based on student feedback to add in more elements of engineering. So a taster of things like civil engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, because students want to know a little bit about each one and then how they can, use that to help them decide their future path in university. Psychology and sociology, also very popular in the summer. A lot of students are thinking more about mental health. They're really interested in this, and this is something that, every summer is increasing in popularity. We're launching a new architecture course next summer. So a lot of students are very specifically interested in learning about architecture, getting into university. This is going to be a very practical program, talking a lot about portfolio, how they can use different areas of art that they're studying at school to kind of help them create their portfolio for entrance to university. Art and design is also specific to London as well. Our London campus is actually delivers a foundation program in the University of the Arts London. And so it means we have an amazing art department. And so we take advantage of all of those art facilities in the summer. Right, so this is what I describe as the star of the show. Okay, this is the main element of the summer program is choosing which academic stream you want to study. But we really created a program where you walk away with a lot of different skills. So another element of the program is our My Path, My Way program. Now, this is a life skills program or a soft skills program, as a lot of corporations call it. So students get to choose 2 from 6 choices across the summer. So that means for 1 day a week, they break away from their class. So for example, their medicine group, and then they get to join another group of students, which is really nice because they have a new class to mix and share ideas with. And that is 1 day per week, they do a life skills program. So for example, beyond the podium, public speaking is very popular. Students get a chance to practice their presentation skills. Advanced problem solving was very popular this summer. I think one of our most popular choices. So students really thinking about decision making and problem solving. Navigating the noise is about digital media literacy. Then we've got building bridges, so negotiation and conflict resolution, mastering the art of influence. And then we also have a course about emotional intelligence and self-leadership called Mind Over Matter. So again, this is another element of the program, which is really kind of increasing what they're learning through the summer and helping them gain many new skills that they can use right away. So very practical courses. Now, a few more of the highlights. So also once a week, we visit a university campus. So we know that there are other summer programs that are taking place on a university campus. We have our own campus. We're a high school, and we like to visit universities once a week so students can still get that taste of what it's like to be in a university, what it's like to actually have a lecture from a university professor. So I can show you this picture on the top is Dr. Adrian LeFou. Now, Adrian actually lectures at Imperial University and the University of Cambridge. He's a research fellow and he assists the University of Cambridge with admissions interviews. So Adrian is an amazing professor and he delivered a really interesting lecture to students called The Simple Mathematics of Flight. And he's really interesting. He makes it relevant for all of the students. And then at the end, there's a question answer portion. Now, down at the bottom here is Simon, and he's doing a lecture to our students this summer. He did in Cambridge. He was a journalist for the BBC for about 25 years, and now he teaches courses on communications at the University of Cambridge. And he did a lecture this summer for the students in Cambridge about the 10 secrets of success when it comes to communication. So again, really interesting person. Students have a good option to do question and answers. We only choose prestigious London universities, and in Cambridge, our lectures are obviously on different campuses within the University of Cambridge. So another key element adding on to that university preparation side of things is that we have a university preparation workshop. So that is a specialized workshop that was created by the vice principal of MPW Birmingham, Ryan Moran. And Ryan is amazing at, being a sort of university expert at MPW Birmingham. He created this program for us to use at the summer school. And it's a 3.5 hour half-day workshop where students learn about things like top universities, Oxbridge, UCAS preparation, personal statement writing. And at the end of the session, they can book a consultation with our recruitment team at MPW to kind of talk about their future choices. So this is a really exciting. We started that this summer, was an element we added, and it was very popular, really got those students thinking. So 14-year-old students are really using it to kind of just start thinking, whereas some of our 16, 17-year-old students are going, okay, actually, what can I practically take away from this session and use tomorrow? So, really fun morning for the students. I actually sat in on a session this summer in Cambridge and, the students really, really enjoyed it. Now, so our programs in London and Cambridge are exactly the same. The only kind of key difference is that in London, we do more industry field trips. So for example, London students or business students might visit a business in London. Now, again, in London, we have a lot of industry. We have a lot of companies that are available to visit. Whereas in Cambridge, it's definitely more focused on the academic side of things. So students in London will once a week, they'll have a subject specific excursion related to their course of choice. So for example, psychology students might visit the Freud Museum and have a workshop, specialized workshop there just for them. Now in Cambridge, we have more university and campus tours on those days. So for example, we might take the science students in a group and then they might actually visit some campuses in Cambridge related to, the sciences. We might break up the humanities students to do the same. Now, some of that is kind of simple tours of the buildings, and then sometimes they are, meeting with people from the different departments. But we work with a great company there who does a lot of kind of educational university tours in Cambridge, and so they have a really nice time there, kind of absorbing the academics of Cambridge. We also bring in guest speakers, so this is across both locations. This is providing a real world experience for students. So for example, we have a law lecturer who lectures at the University of Manchester, and she comes and does some special, talks with the students, the law students. We might bring a doctor in to speak to the students about what it's like to be a doctor. An engineer might come to the engineering students class and do a lecture on, aerospace engineering. And it's really about inspiring them to think about their choices, to think about within that broad field of something they're interested in, what specifically can they do? Now, of course, we can't forget that it's an academic summer program, but it's also a lot of fun. Okay, so we realize that a lot of students, this is a very special experience for them. They've maybe never been to the UK before, so they want to experience it. They want to have a look around. They want to explore and see all the sights. So we do that. In London, we're doing things like going to a West End theatre show. We're going on the London Eye. We're doing lots of tours. In Cambridge, we're doing things like going punting. We're, doing things like indoor rock climbing, karaoke. We're doing all sorts of things in each city. But then we also have a day trip to another city. So for example, the London students, if they join the first group, they go to Cambridge for a day trip. The second group goes to Oxford for a day trip. And the third group goes to Cambridge for a day trip. Now in London, the Cambridge students, they go to London for a day trip. Okay, so we make sure that even if, they're in Cambridge, they have an amazing experience there, they still get to come to London and see some of the sights of London. So these are our students this summer enjoying a, really nice time. You can see them on the London Eye, you can see them in front of the Natural History Museum, some of them punting in Cambridge. We also go to the park a lot, and play football, play games. Of course, it's summer and the weather is actually really hot and sunny usually in the UK in the summer. So we're outside taking advantage of that. Now, a key part of our program is that we have an incredibly strong nationality mix. Now, I'm just giving you an idea. Now, this is across both locations, and this is spread over 6 weeks. Now, one of the, most interesting elements, I think, for students is that they come to the UK and they're in a class with lots of different nationalities, including native speakers sometimes. So you can see we had 3.09% UK students. We had a couple of students from the US, for example. The way that we manage this is in one class of 9 students, there's no more than 3 speakers of the same native language. Okay, so we really make that strict across the summer. So spaces in the program start to fill probably by March, April. And then that is really up to us in that we say, look, for this class, we say, what is your native language on the application form, the language you speak the most. And then we, make sure that the classes are allocated like that. So in one class, there might be, 2 students from China, 1 student from Spain, 2 from Italy. We really make sure that we keep strong with that nationality mix because students want an international experience across the summer. Okay, so I thought I would take you through a day at MPW Summer School. Now, in London and Cambridge, we have 2 amazing campuses. So our Cambridge campus is smaller. Okay, so during the summer, we have about 35 to 40 summer school students. And then we actually have 36, boarding rooms for the Cambridge program every 2 weeks. It's a really nice family feel in the Cambridge program. And then in London, we've got about 70 students every 2 weeks. Okay, so we are not a large scale summer program where you have hundreds and hundreds of students. We really have that, more sort of bespoke boutique feel when it comes to our summer program. Students really get to know staff and, they become like family. So students would wake up at 7 a.m. So we have trained live-in staff who wake students up. They have a hot breakfast. So in London, the boarding house is where the catering is. In Cambridge, they walk to school and have breakfast at school. But staff wake them up, they make sure they're ready to go. We do a registration and staff walk with the students to school. Okay, so safety is very important to us and it's a key element. They have morning registration, no students are kind of left lazing around in bed. We're making sure everyone is up and ready to go. They have their lessons in the morning. So potentially from around 9 till 12, 12:30, depending on the day. Then they have a break in the morning. Okay, so there's always snacks available for purchase at school during the break. If parents agree, they can visit local shops and cafes for their break in the morning. At lunch, we all eat together. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are included in the fee. Okay, so lunch, everyone eats together. Then they have their afternoon lessons. Now, when lessons finish, they go to register with the activity staff. We have a trip and safety briefing. So we do things like we risk assess everywhere that we go. We make sure that we have a clear plan. We've got first aid kits. We're making sure that any medication we need is with us. We have travel routes. We make sure that the students have emergency plans. Okay. And we, make sure that students know kind of what to do if they get lost or if something happens. Okay. We're very, very strong on safety, okay, when it comes to making sure students are safe when they're with us, because we know that, we've got your child in our care, okay, and that's very, very important to us. Now, they do their activity, let's say from after school, from maybe around 3:30 till, 5:30. Then everyone has dinner together in the canteen. Then we do another evening activity. So we have a registration again. We have another kind of trip briefing, risk assessment, get everyone together. Then we have an activity. And then we do evening registration and lights out. Okay, so we're making sure that students are in their rooms, checking in, making sure they do a final registration, and then lights out, and we start the day all over again. Now, that is generally a Monday to Friday. Sometimes we have half days so that the students in the afternoon are actually going on those subject-specific excursions we spoke about, or going to the universities in the morning and then maybe coming back and doing a workshop in the afternoon. Now, the weekends are a little bit different. So basically we have in London on Saturdays, we do our day trip to Oxford or Cambridge. And then in Cambridge, we do our day trip to London always on a Sunday. Okay, now that day looks like when the students do their day trip, they wake up, they have breakfast, they get a coach to the city that they're going to. We have packed lunches, so of course students are having their lunch as well included. Then on return, they come back to the boarding house and we usually do a pizza dinner that night. So it's quite nice for them to have a break from the catering food, and we do, have a nice pizza party when they come back. Usually they get back around, between 7 and 8 p.m. They're very tired, so we have a kind of a late pizza dinner and then kind of relax games at the boarding house, go to bed. Now, we do also have free time. Okay, so that is only on the first. So for example, in London, free time is going to be on Sunday. And then in Cambridge, free time is on Saturday. Now, parents worry about free time. We have consent forms that lay out all the rules. If you do not want your child to have any free time that day, that's okay. There's always a trip planned for them to do. So there's always a shopping trip. Staff will take them out around. For example, in London, we go to Covent Garden. Students often have a list of like shops or places they want to go. In Cambridge, they can kind of go around. There's lots of shopping areas and markets in Cambridge. And the students just like to kind of go with their friends, have a little bit of freedom, but with a lot of rules attached to that freedom. So, second here. There we go. So when it comes to the safety and the pastoral care, specifically when students are allowed off campus without a staff member. So first of all of our staff are very well trained. We have a very busy timetable, so there is not a lot of time for free time, okay? The first time that they have free time, like I said, is on that Saturday or Sunday. Now, they're only allowed to go out with groups of 3 minimum. They're never, ever allowed to leave the boarding house alone, okay? They have to share their location with staff. They have to maintain regular contact. So for example, every 2 hours, they have to call the boarding house and tell them where they are, check in, I'm safe, make sure they have a plan. But they have to then physically come back after 4 hours. Okay. They cannot ever be out longer than 4 hours. They can come back, they can check in with staff, say hello, and then they can go out again for a couple of hours if they've followed the rules, if their behavior's been good, if they have met their check-in times. So for example, they might leave at 10 a.m., come back by 2 p.m. for a physical check-in with staff. They can leave again, but I never allow students out on that free time day past 6 p.m. I know some parents will kind of say, well, my son or daughter is 17. I'm happy for them to go out in the evening. It's not allowed. Okay. It's not safe for them to do so. I don't see it that way. I think it's if you have family relatives or friends in town that want to take them out for dinner, that's fine. Okay. We can manage that. But again, it's about their safety. So also they have a tired day. So for example, in London on Sunday, when they have free time, they have school the next day. In Cambridge, we'll do an activity on Saturday night. So if they have free time during the day, we're probably going to go bowling on Saturday night. Everyone's together, having dinner together, doing an activity together that evening. Okay. Now, if you do not want your son or daughter to have free time, that's absolutely fine because staff will always have an activity planned. Okay. And it's no pressure for you to allow that. Again, staff are very skilled at, making sure that they have lots to do. Okay. Now, so our accommodation, I think you know a little bit about our accommodation already, but in London we have Queen's Gate House. This is a 3-minute walk to the school. So it's on the same street, very close. All the meals are included. All the rooms are single ensuite, so students have their own bathroom. It's self-serve laundry, and we have air-conditioned rooms in London. In Cambridge, we actually have 36 single ensuite rooms. Students are chaperoned to and from school every day. It's about a 15-minute walk to MPW Cambridge. Each pod of 6 rooms has their own kitchen facilities. So on the weekends, we actually purchase breakfast items and bring them into their kitchens so that students can have breakfast with their friends in their kitchens in the mornings on Saturday and Sunday. So we have self-serve laundry on site there. We have all meals included. And then, students are dining in MPW Cambridge Monday to Friday. We can cater for dietary needs. So if you're halal, vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, we can cater for those. So that is it from me for the presentation, and we will take some questions now.
Good. Thank you so much, Erin. So this is the Q&A time. In the past few years, Q&A session is always the most busiest period. So this time, we left plenty of time for everyone to ask questions. So all the parents, students, and agents, you can use the chat box to ask some questions. So while you're thinking about any questions, right, I will maybe do a summary for your presentation for the summer school first. I would say because I do recruitment in Asia, so most of the students or agents, they will ask, what type of students is suitable to join our summer school? I would say, firstly, there are a few scenarios. Firstly, if you are a student who consider to study overseas, I'm not sure if study overseas will actually be suitable for you, or not sure about the country, USA or Australia or Canada or UK, it will be over a taste of the UT life and studies. And the second scenario is if you're considering a subject area, for example, I want medicine, but my mom also said maybe engineering is good, or my dad want me to study law, but I want to study business, something like that. At the university, you're not sure which is right for you, and you want to try, give it a try to ensure that the subject is right for you. In particular, so many students nowadays, after the GCSE, they go for foundations, right? But because they're too young to choose, so you need to have a try on different subjects, and you make sure that you choose the right one. And the third scenario is some students is absolutely sure about the subject that I want to study at the university, but I want to learn more want to strengthen your university applications. For example, we have a lot of students who want to aim at medicine, and they really want to ensure that they want to go medicine, but some of the students, they want to have an experience of this session, want to know more about the digestive systems, or maybe what makes a good doctor, something like that. In our school, the summer school will provide opportunities so students will be able to attend some kind of like university year one topic. So then student will be able to like learn a little bit more before you go to university. And some other students, for example, Thailand, right? Not all the students, they will have summertime in June, July. So then you can definitely consider for like a short-term studies, overseas experience, for doing some fun, productive over the summer. And finally, like I think what is the best for our summer school program for all the students is to get an unforgettable experience that you cannot experience in other providers. For example, I don't think other providers will take you to visit Cambridge University, for example, to actually sit in a university lecture in Cambridge University by a Cambridge professor. Or we also offer something amazing like guest speaker from the industry. For example, like a designer from a very famous brand to talk about the fashion trends, something like that. So this is all the type of students who is suitable for joining our summer school program. Okay, so thank you very much. Let me see the questions.
Yeah, I mean, great. I mean, Sharon made a good point. So the person in the chat asked it, May asked about the day students. So yes, we do allow day students, and that's actually quite popular, for some nationalities who have, they're coming to London on a 2-week vacation, and your parents and maybe want to go, shopping, go sightseeing, and the students join us during the day. But then if they actually want to opt in to some activities in the evenings and weekends, they can do that. So it's for an additional fee depending on the activity. But what I find is a lot of students who join as day students, they actually, by the end of the first week, they like, I want to go on the trip this weekend. Can we join, the party? Of course. So the final party is included in everything for the day students, but then some of the other evening activities and after school activities, they can join as well. So somebody asked, can day students have a timetable to show when they arrive to school every day? Yes. So yeah, this is the question. So yes, they can join the weekend day trip as well. So she says, I'm interested in knowing if they can know where to meet the group if they do not stay on campus. Okay, yeah, we have a pre-arrival page. So when you join us, we can even send you the pre-arrival link that shows you a lot of information about what time to come to school on the first day if you're a day student, how we can welcome you. And actually, on the very first day of each 2-week program, we do a little introduction to MPW Cambridge and MPW London, and we talk about what it's like to study in the UK, a little bit about British culture and values, kind of like a welcome to the UK. This is what you can expect. And it's, really kind of a nice way for them to get used to kind of being in the UK, welcoming, chatting about, different nationalities and different, customs in their own culture. So when it comes to the weekday activities price list, we actually book our activities, May, all year round. So, we haven't booked everything for next summer. We obviously change activities often, but we've started to book. So if there's specific activities, we can usually give you a price idea by like April, May for different add-on activities, okay? For the 2-week residential program, it's all inclusive. So Sharon was talking about the different types of things the students are doing in the classes. And actually, I just wanted to highlight a bit about the teachers. So for example, the type of teachers that we hire. So MPW staff get very much involved in the program. Okay, so 80% of our teachers are MPW teachers. Now, the other teachers I hire and bring them in, and I used to be a teacher myself, so I really care about the quality of the teaching staff. If I'm bringing in teachers, I'm bringing in really special teachers. So for example, the medicine teacher in Cambridge, she was actually a doctor, for a long time. Now she does private tuition, stay-at-home mom, but now she actually worked for MPW Cambridge for a long time as well. So, we have a lot of people with MPW who are connected to MPW, maybe even former students who are now university professors. So, for example, I had a professor of neuroscience from UCL who actually went to MPW, and he was one of our lecturers last summer. Okay, he gave a lecture on the secrets of the brain, which was really fun for students. So we're bringing in really special teaching staff that have that level of expertise. Does anybody else have any other questions? Don't be shy.
Yes. Some of the Hong Kong parents they ask some questions and they want to ask me to ask you, right? For example, what will student get after the summer school course?
Yeah, sure. So at the end of the program, they get a individualized certificate that says, MPW. It says where they attended. So a really nice branded certificate. It also says the course they took plus the 2 life skills that they took, the My Path, My Way course. So it might say like, public speaking, and then it'll also have like business, for example. Then they get an individualized report that actually shows all the subjects and topics that they covered over the course of 2 weeks, and then a individualized report from their teacher. Okay. If you want a letter of recommendation after the summer program, that's easy. Just ask us and we can give you one. That would just be by request.
Oh wow, students actually get reference letter so they can use
Yeah,
for other
yeah, that's some
activities.
students. Mhm.
Wow, amazing. Finally, a parent is asking day students' arrival and departure time, including the lunch. Is that only?
That's a good question. Lunch is included for day students. So normally they would arrive at 8:45 a.m. and then they would finish at around 3 or 5 p.m., depending on the day, usually 3 p.m. But if they have a trip in the afternoon, we might get back around 4:35 p.m.
Okay. How about the fees, right? You mentioned the fees included tuition, accommodations, free meals per day,
Yeah.
and the
So
community
yeah,
instruments.
on the day they have free time, it actually includes 2 meals because they do brunch. They do kind of like a late brunch so they can have a little lie-in because they're very tired. And then usually they're going out with sometimes, friends or staff, and they like to grab some snacks around because, they see all these viral foods on their social media now that they want to try.
Okay. And also all the like university visit,
Yeah.
um, activities, karaoke, bowling, is it all included?
It's all included, including their travel fees. So if we're using like, you know, transport coaches, all of that is included as well.
Okay. And the parents is asking if there's any internal English test that students can take, as sometimes they don't take IELTS, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know, Izzy, I might let Izzy talk about the English,
Yeah.
how we manage that, because when the application comes in, Izzy's the one that kind of has a look.
So if students learn English at school, or if they've done anything outside of school where they have a certificate, or anything, or a note from their teacher, just to demonstrate what English level they are at, they can just submit that along with their application, and we can use that instead of them having to take an official test. And then if they don't happen to have that, but they think their English level is high enough, we can always do a brief chat with us, with the admissions team with Erin, and then we can use that to speak to the student. It'll just be really informal, really easy, and just lets us get to know their English level and see, whether it would be right for the program and whether it's the right thing for them.
Yeah, we really want to, first of all, we trust our agents, so if you know your students and you know that they have a good level of English, for example, they've been attending an international school, they've studied it for a long time, and you say, look, then that's fine. And again, like Izzy said, if you're not sure, let's just have a kind of 15-minute informal interview with the student where we can chat. If you really want to do a test, Sharon can help manage. We have a password test. But again, we don't want to make it too difficult for summer or too laborious because, it's summer school, but we do want to make sure that the students can access the content, and we don't want them to arrive and feel uncomfortable because their English level isn't the same as the others, and I think the point is we do have students who have good level of English, but of course it doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're looking for, intermediate.
Great. So basically, it will be either showing the report for proof, or they can arrange a short chat with the UK team, or some students they will do an internal English test for free.
Yes, exactly.
Great. And will the students who age 14 and 16 and 17, are they in the same class, same level?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we do actually mix the levels in class. Again, that's where our small class sizes come in. And I think with international students, age isn't necessarily the identifier because it depends on, what subjects they're, some students, maybe they're studying IB business, because they have that access available. What we do is on the application form, we have a section that asks for the student's experience in the subject. And then we actually give that to the teachers, but then I manage the classes as best I can by grouping the students, in the right way. So for example, in London, business is very popular. So I do 2 to 3 classes of business. So then I can actually put the higher level business students in another class. But again, our teachers are really skilled at managing a lot of different levels in the classroom because it's such small classes.
Okay. And is there any prerequisites for students who join science and medicine or engineering?
Sorry, what was the question again, Sharon?
Is there any prerequisites on science if students want to join science pathway or engineering pathway?
No, so they can join, they don't have to have experience if they just want to try it out. If it's a subject that they're interested in and they might want to do it, at a further level of study, they can try it with us for the first time. They don't have to have done it before. It's great if they have, and as Erin said, the teachers can absolutely tailor it to their level. So we might have some students who have studied, biology, medicine, those topics before, but we can also have students who want to test it out for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, I think some students, I'll say, for example, like politics and law, a lot of students won't get to study that until final year of high school or university, so like that might be a subject. They're like, oh, actually, I've never got a chance to try that. And we consider it very positive. If a student tries it and says, oh, actually, not for me, maybe I want to try something else. To us, that's a win because that's the point, right? Is the student is trying to decide like if they like a subject and if they're interested in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, let me see. A parent is asking which university that student will be visiting during the summer term. Have you confirmed?
So I can't promise which ones next summer because we're obviously always, booking rooms, booking spaces throughout the year. So that's Izzy and I are doing that now, is kind of organizing, all of our speakers and kind of thinking which ones were the best from this summer that we want to bring back and bring in some new ones. But what I can promise is that in London, it's only Russell Group universities that we visit. Okay. And in Cambridge, it's only University of Cambridge campuses that we visit. Okay. So last summer, we visited Corpus Christi, we visited Jesus College in Cambridge. In London, all 3 groups went to Imperial University. So it's right across the street from us. So hopefully we can do that again next summer. I'm pretty sure we will visit Imperial again next summer, but I don't, and then we visited Queen Mary, we visited King's last summer. So again, just those top universities.
And when they visit the university,
Yeah.
and you are going to have a guest speaker, no, sorry, university seminar, right? The speaker will be the university's teacher, or our
Yes,
teacher?
yeah, good question. It's always a university professor. Okay, so for example, Adrian, that professor that I showed you, Adrian actually lectures at the University of Cambridge and at Imperial. So he delivered a lecture for us in London this summer at a university. Okay, so always a university professor who is teaching at a prestigious university. So not just the prestigious location, the prestigious professor as well.
Oh, actually, MPW Summer School included so many like so many expensive items, right? And with a lot of like elite teachers, Cambridge University teacher, alumni, etc. Wow, how how can we run this summer camp with a lot of fun stuff but very low cost? Because we are in London, someone, right? And it must be expensive if even though I book a hotel next to MPW London. How come this is not so expensive? Is it because it's using our own accommodation or?
Did you say how come it's not as expensive? Is that what you said,
Yeah.
Claire? Yeah, fine. Good question. I think, look, a lot of programs, and there are lots of, amazing summer programs, absolutely. But those programs that take place on a university of campus that are quite similar to ours, but they're on a university campus, they have very high rental fees. So they'll have to charge quite a lot more than we do because their rental fees are very high, whereas we are using our own boarding house, we're using our own school, we're using our own accommodation in Cambridge. So we're not kind of paying those high rental fees. And one of the positive things about joining a summer school that's connected to a school is that we are an established school. MPW has been around for over 50 years now. We have very strong inspection reports, we have very good compliance, very good safety, very good kind of very good teachers. And that's proven when it comes to like our university progression rates and our reports whenever we kind of get inspected by different inspectorates in the UK. And so I think that's a very positive part and can give you confidence when you join a program that is connected to a school like ours.
Okay. So I have finished all my questions. Let's see if there's anyone who want to ask last minute questions.
Last minute questions. I mean, look, we are always here to support you, so Sharon, Izzy, and I, we're always communicating, all throughout the year. Sharon will ask us if we've got spaces. We're always here to support. So you can always reach out to Sharon or Izzy and I. We've got a summer school email address, which is summerschool@mpw.ac.uk. Sharon will share some materials with you. I'm sure she has already. But yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for helping and explaining the details.
Great. Well, have a great day,
Thank you.
everyone.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining. And then if you want the videos recording, please feel free to get in touch with me so I can send you the video recording for your client, for your family members. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Izzy. Bye.